Alright, Abushafo, aha, I am Ghana TV. You best say, you best subscribe to the channel and from our gate our conversation. Abushafo, the NDC treating former President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Sebi say onye nipa. Na ene, they are back to the same table of acquiring a new private jet for John Dramani Mahama. Now, question Ghana for be brave, say, Adentina Moon NDC for women in opposition. You people spoke against this private jet issue. Musina Nando Danko Akufo-Addo dear, or Tom Bidie, Denchi Obuasi. Nanado dear, where a cabitani. Nanado dear, or Tom Piota, Agublushi. Enti Nanado dear, or to choir. Say, on fire a taxi, every Ghana, Echo America. Nanado dear, or no beer, or to choir, ukuja to a black one, to me babontin, and the baby a walk hotel a walk da, ni beer, ni personal issue beer, information beer, Eddie Betuja. Now, adia mo NDC from Budia Yanado Kurum Hano. Say MPP 4% omuye the same thing Emma and Kaba this time is a woman and Kabeyema. And Kaisa Woma Yama who okuja to a black one. See this small boy. To me babonting. It's a cancer. Abusia, me see could to a black one. The war be fat one ni wo be time papa ni wo a be time because adia acquire this small guy Eddie Nanado fame just because of politics. As here you people come to power who's catching Ghana for say sa issue we ba and John Dramani Mahama eye na we say obe charter and say obe top private jet. You resign. By then you are still holding your position. Abusia, sad.
NDC treated former President Nana Addo as though his life didn't matter. Broja Jemfi, my XYZ online, he said, "We will treat you like MPP MPs if you support purchase of new presidential jets." That was what he told his MPs then when they were in minority. And when I saw your flyer, that Honorable Lenchini was also appearing on this program to talk about presidential jet, I said, did he look at the topic? Because, Honorable, this is you, captured on City, June 20, 2021. Our presidential jet offers better security and safety than a private jet.
That is true.
Tobu. And this is a quotation. A retired police officer, a member of Parliament.
Read the headline.
No, let me. There's a place I'm interested in. Parliament for Wawes, Peter Lanchini Tobu, insists that the Minister of Defense, Dominic Nitu's justification for non-use of presidential jet for the president's recent travel holds no water. So there's nothing you say today that will hold water for me. Again, lastly...
Are you not concluding on the matter?
No, I've already concluded based on what he ever said. You see, the NDC, some of the NDC members of Parliament and ministers have no right to even start this discussion at all. They have no right at all. This is Honorable Ablakwa, 15 December 2021. A government which claims to be facing one of the most difficult economic challenges of the modern era, and for which it seeks to railroad an obnoxious and regressive e-levy, should not be holding consultation for the purchase of a new presidential jet. We shall frustrate these two, consistent with the Akufo-Addo doctrine of priorities, as contained in the February Parliamentary Hansard of 15th February 2000. I want to know whether they've been able to solve every problem, whether they've paid the teachers, they've paid nurses, whether everything is in order for them to begin to discuss a purchase of presidential jet. We will resist it, just as they said, the key word that was flying all over was that the jet was in pristine condition. It is still pristine. President Mahama should use it.
But you've just been told by the minister that it's not in pristine.
I'm not listening to him.
Then when we should hear from the lady.
I know, but he's saying...
When the then defense minister, Dominic Mitu, was explaining, they had none of that. They said that we should still use it. And remember, Honorable Blackwell even said that it has 2 engines. If one fails, the other 3 engines, right? If 1 or 2 fails, still the other one can carry. So meaning President Nanado's life didn't matter. Right. He should sit in one flight powered by 1 engine, even if this one is...
But the reality is that if that is what the presidency wants, then it means that we need to have a policy or make that conscious decision, whether it's you, the parliamentarians, or the political elite, or as a country, that we need a presidential jet, a new presidential jet. What do you say?
It is clear to me that the charter arrangements that President Akufo-Addo has been pursuing was just to herald this. They were preparing the grounds for this big announcement that a new presidential jet is needed. Let me serve notice that we on the NDC side in Parliament, we have discussed extensively amongst ourselves. We are not going to support this purchase, the purchase of a new aircraft, because of a number of reasons. One, the current presidential jet is fit for purpose. As President George Weah has told us in our faces, it's very fit for purpose. There's nothing wrong with it. Number 2, the current presidential jet, if you read the Hansard of 19th March 2008, we were told by the then defense minister, who is now National Security Minister, Honorable Kandapa, that our jet has a 20-year lifespan after it arrives. It arrived in October 2010. It's done barely 11 years. Next month, it will be 11 years. We are nowhere near 2030, where you can start discussing a new aircraft.
Mr. Speaker, the year of work said, almost your koto aeroplane kasi e di amo mampeni so fentu kwan. Na wo share aeroplane no buo echo billions, Mr. Speaker, and so and kolani here juma aye and almost your koto aeroplane ama omampeni so fentu kwan. And so and canon almost say wuto plane more mampeni and ya the papa into one can some principles no way. If the Ghanaian people mention free maternal care, they know of MPP. If the Ghanaian people mention health insurance policy, they know MPP. Mr. Speaker, public transport, investment in public transport, they even called it Kufuor bus. They know MPP. Mr. Speaker, when the Ghanaian people hear of the almighty free SHS, they know of MPP. Mr. Speaker, but when the Ghanaian people mention a government that abandoned job creation and decided to buy an aeroplane for the president to fly in, they know of NDC. When the Ghanaian people mention leadership of deceit, hypocrisy, propaganda, they mention NDC. Mr. Speaker, when the people of Ghana mention of deceit in the implementation of 1 job 3 shifts, they mention NDC. Addo, you are forcing the youth out of jobs. You are forcing to get 18% electricity tariffs. You are forcing to ensure that you create a new VAT basket to compel many of our small-scale businesses to get into this new threshold. And Mr. Speaker, you know what you're going to do? Addo, you are forcing many people out of jobs. Hey, if you meet this minister, I say Addo is forcing. No, it's not me. Oh, It's Addo. It's Addo. Hey, Addo.
This presidential jet arrived in 2010. The records in Parliament, please check the Parliamentary Hansard. We were told that the presidential jet has a lifespan of a minimum 20 years. So 2010, when the aircraft arrived, plus 20 years, that gives you 200, it gives you from now to 2030, from 2010 to 2030. That's minimum 20 years. Now, we all know that with these aircraft, if your maintenance regime is good, if you take good care of the aircraft, that minimum 20 years, you can even double it. Our Ghana Air Force, the Communications Squadron, which is in charge of presidential jets, is celebrated the world over for their high maintenance culture. We all know that. If you take in Ghana's history, this is our 4th presidential jet. The Fokker 28, which a champion purchased for us in the 1970s. Our Air Force has been able to take very good care of Fokker 28 for well over 35 years. So even this minimum period of 20 years, you can see that is very generous. It can go beyond that. Now, I am even more fortified in the position I take that the minimum period of 20 years could even exceed that, because a country like Namibia, a Falcon, theirs is a much older version. Ours was a newer version, the 900 EXE. The Namibians bought the 700 EX. And all of this information is available online. Viewers can check if I'm peddling any falsehood. So the Namibians bought theirs in 1990. They are still using it. Ours arrived 2010, and we are making excuses. Excuses that are unfounded, that are baseless. Excuses that we have asked. You say that these claims are coming from experts. We have been asking in Parliament. Tell us who those experts are. Let us see the evidence of experts telling you that don't use this aircraft for a long-range travel. Up to now, they cannot tell us. They cannot produce or adduce any evidence to that effect. Now, the Namibians, President Gengob of Namibia, is still using a Falcon 700 EX, which they bought in 1990. They are still using it. The last UN General Assembly, when I tracked, and I've been tracking this, I have the systems to track this. President Gengob of Namibia used their Falcon, which they bought in 1990. Over a 30-year Falcon. He used it to New York, to the General Assembly meeting. Only in September, a few months ago. All these meetings the president is attending. That's what the Namibian president, President Gengob, has been using. Take President Macron of France. His aircraft that he's using now also arrived in 2010, the same year our presidential jet arrived. President Macron of France is still using his presidential jet, which arrived in 2010, the same year, 12-year-old aircraft. That is what President Macron used when he visited Ghana in 2017. That is what he used when he went to Rwanda.
So you're making
a few months ago.
You're making the case that the aircraft is not old enough to be retired.
Yes. So please, it's important to really bring my point home.
Okay.
Take the United States of America, the famous Air Force One. When was it purchased? You can check, 1991. That's when the Americans purchased Air Force One. That is what current President Biden is still using. President Obama's period, they began discussions about changing it. That is now reached its lifespan, is, after 30 years, they want to change it. But President Trump, when he came to power, said that the plans for the replacement was too expensive, too elaborate. So he suspended it and reduced the cost and the scope. President Biden has also suspended it because of the pandemic. This is the world's wealthiest country, the United States of America. They are still using Air Force One they bought in 1991. We bought our presidential jet in 2010. It arrived, and we are making all kinds of excuses.
Given that my good friend, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, a member of Parliament for North Tongue, Mr. Speaker, has been very vociferous on private and presidential jets, Mr. Speaker. If the minister can support me, and I made this case in this House, if the minister can support me to call on the Ministry of Finance and the government of Ghana to purchase 1 presidential jet instead of 2, and to purchase, let's say, 2 helicopters instead of 4. Mr. Speaker, if the government was to do that, I want to believe that the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Speaker, who is actually on record to have said that if his government had purchased a presidential jet, he would resign. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Foreign Affairs should support me to call on the Ministry of Finance to scale down these purchases the government intends to engage in, and that will give us some fiscal space, Mr. Speaker. That will loosen the Ministry of Finance up, and that will ensure that the Ministry of Finance will be able to fund the 3 billion, the very important 3 billion budget request the Minister for Foreign Affairs made. Mr. Speaker, I think it's important that I conclude on that note, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, these are absolutely important matters. Mr. Speaker, prioritization in government expenditure and allocation is very important, Mr. Speaker. You can decide to allocate money for your foreign ministry to pursue their foreign policy initiatives, including the STRIDE initiative, the e-visa he wants to do, the passport initiatives he wants to engage in, and the minister's own words. He says, well, I have a big vision, but I don't have the money to carry out all the vision. Mr. Minister for Foreign Affairs, you've been very vociferous on private jets and presidential jets. The season has not changed. Let's stay to the principle. Come on, support me. Let's call on the government to drop 1 presidential jet, drop 2 helicopters, and they will have money to fund you. I thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Kanye, Ghana for. Na muni mi say budgeter, finance minister, editor parliament. Na wachu we muno. E wo mu say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ni NDC government. Omo kwa koto plane. Maku 4. Aye. Plane na Akufo-Addo ka say ayesai no kwa koto bi na NDC for so mo mpene mane nto no. Ene omo kwa koto plane maku 4. Omo koto 1 presidential jet. Omo koto 1 helicopter for the president. A odi betu kwan internally. No wa use presidential jet no de tu kwan internationally. No wa to 2 pe e de ma the Ghana Armed Forces. Na sa 2 na o de ma Ghana Armed Forces no. O sign be use esa de air travels. Into be use national military no e de air traveling machine. Momientie Honorable Intim-Fojo a the ranking member the Defense and Interior Committee Parliament. Ni sema okan ye wia de ho ne be kan to aso.
No, military is a fighting force. Okay. They need fighter jets. Military is a fighting force. Instead of you to buy them fighter jets, you are going to buy your own luxury jet, helicopter that will fly your president and the ministers around. What about the soldiers? What fighter jets are they going to use as a fighting force? So instead of you to prioritize the urgent critical needs, you rather prioritize what you use to fly around.
Ghana for if you say so ma yonko ntwankwa nso ntwanu na Akufo-Addo ka say eye plane yi ho abasem enye momiento foforo mo twene na Akufo-Addo sre ene abasa e wo krom ha ena plane ba kokko tito ye de etu yonko ho a etu aduam nti ene ye ti Ghana sika taxpayers money abra nurses for aya adwuma ye ntu omoka teachers aya adwuma ye ntu omoka ye di sika e kwa koto plane de mi yakra ne say kasika mo fa koto fighter jet no ko mo fa ma ye military no mutimi fan fight e bia ye nya problem and I say any external aggression ba on be use no ye the koto helicopter any presidential jet abetenam krom ha akwa ba be shiga na sika ama taxpayers e command ye abra nurses any teachers egufia ye ntu omuka said ye pe ana ye saka no namaste.